going on, everybody? My name is Matthew Ginzali, and welcome to a brand new episode of a show that I like to call Reasons to Live. In essence, this show is sort of an open letter forum series dedicated specifically towards those of you out there watching this who struggle with suicidal thoughts, just like I once did myself, to remind you that there are dozens, hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions, decillion, infinite reasons why you, yes you, should choose life over death. Now, the topic of today's video, I'm not going to lie to you, it's a bit more somber, it's a bit more higher, upper, whatever you want to say, darker, more somber tone than what I normally like to talk about for this show. And that's the consequences of a failed suicide attempt. Failed. And to the point where it's not really worth the risk. People who have tried to kill themselves unsuccessful in that regard, when you survive, it's not an unsuccess, it's not a failure, it's the right outcome. But anyway, I digress. People who have unsuccessfully tried to kill themselves or end their own lives have put themselves through the most devastating of injuries. I've heard a story of this cheerleader who tried to kill herself, and she survived, but she was paralyzed from the waist down, unable to walk for the rest of her life, and there's not a chance of her ever walking again because of it. You don't want that. I've seen a story of a guy who tried to kill himself by fire and ended up burning a couple things down. He survived and he got criminally charged on top of multiple third-degree burns. He'll never be the same again. I've heard stories of people who've lost limbs, hands, fingers, toes, feet, legs, arms. That's not worth it. You don't want that. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to kill yourself. I know you just want the pain to end, is that right? Well, I can promise you, one day the pain will end, and you will be on that journey towards happiness, towards the life that you deserve, my friend. And that's a good life, where you're happy. I can't promise it'll happen right now, tomorrow, later today, or the next day, or the next day, or the next week. But I can promise that you will see that path one day. I swear to you. It took me a couple of years after I tried to drown myself, but eventually I've come to know that I made the right decision. And it'll be the same for you too. I swear to you. Alright, before I get going, I have a quick little 1v1 with you, if that's alright. Please check out the links in the description below if you find yourself seriously needing help at the moment. I put a couple of links for you. I put the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, the Crisis Text Line, National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, Trevor Project, and the Trans Lifeline. Now, I'm sure you've seen the numbers to these particular resources before, and they might unfortunately be just that to you. Numbers. So here's what I did. On top of putting the numbers, I've also included links to all of their respective web pages so you could read up on them. See what happens before you reach out to one of these particular resources. Because I know a lot of us can find ourselves afraid of reaching out because we don't know what's going to happen. So automatically our mind makes assumptions that the situation will be completely taken out of our hands and everyone will know. And that's not necessarily the case. So I highly advise you to read up, do your own research on any of these particular resources that you might feel the need to call or feel like you need to use. There's no shame in reaching out for help, by the way. Oh, before I get going, one more thing. Can you please check out the first link in the description below? That's going to take you to an article by BuzzFeed News that's going to explain in a lot more detail than I ever could exactly what happens when you call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline or the Crisis Text Line. And it does a great job at scraping away all the myths and stereotypes that we've come to define reaching out for help with. So, it's very much worth the read, I promise you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Remember one thing, okay? You are strong enough to get through this, and you don't deserve suicide. You deserve to feel amazing. It's going to take some time, no doubt, but the journey of life is worth it in the end, I promise you. Bye. Remember, there's always a reason to smile. Bye.